Here's how to record professional voiceovers for viral videos on YouTube, just like this, with whatever equipment you might have, whether that's a high-end studio microphone, a cheaper USB microphone, or even just your iPhone. I've used these tips alongside my business partner Mauricio to generate over 40 million views across my channels and our clients' channels, all in the past 3 years. So if you want to improve your voiceovers or get faster at getting them done, then this video is for you. But first, here are some equipment recommendations from my friend Cams, who's a professional voiceover artist and content creator on TikTok.
Yeah, my name is Cams. I've been a content creator since about 2014, and I did some voice acting and voiceover work in the past.
What's your favorite high budget microphone?
Well, I mean, the market's kind of shifting away from the Shure SM7B. I'd say probably the top option I would recommend an Elgato Wave 3. They have an XLR input option, and then is probably the one that's recommended just so everything is nice.
Okay, what about mid-tier? Like probably under 200 bucks or so.
Like, yeah, there could be a medium budget microphone like a HyperX Quadcast S, but that's a USB microphone. If you're looking to go full force into something, I see a lot of creators that are struggling with retention, just keeping an audience. They struggle with having bad audio. That's the reason why they're not able to get the views and the retention that they're looking for, because I personally would never watch a video that doesn't have like decent audio coming from it.
And what's your favorite low tier mic? Like probably under 100 bucks.
The medium budget microphones are like the way to go, or honestly just use Apple earbuds. If you can, you just record on your voice memo on your phone. And the digital iPhones, they honestly have a really decent sound coming out of their microphones that can compete with a lot of the lower budget microphones, like for example, like a Blue Snowball or a Rode NT USB.
Interesting. So you actually like iPhone microphones?
Yeah, what I do for TikTok and whatnot, you see videos convert better with the Apple earbuds, the normal Apple earbuds. I wouldn't recommend AirPods because they don't really produce the quality sound because it's a wireless mic. It doesn't go straight into the microphone. There's a couple different options. You could do a Rode Wireless Go mic, which is a lavalier mic, but those are on the expensive side because they produce such high quality. Yeah, and then, or you could do the DJI mic, which is what I personally use, and that runs you, I think, like close to 200.
Great. So for those that it applies to, feel free to click this timestamp to go learn how to record with an iPhone mic if you can't really afford to get anything more expensive. Personally, in regards to high budget microphones, I use the Shure SM7B, which Cams also uses. This will set you back around $400 plus the price of an XLR soundboard. My XLR soundboard is just like behind me. It's the Sweetwater SSL2, and it'll set you back probably like 180, 190 bucks. And it's expensive, but it also sounds really good straight out of the box, so I'd really recommend it if you can afford both. For mid-budget microphones, I'd recommend the Blue Yeti X. It's a USB microphone, so it plugs straight into your computer, like Cams was saying, and I used to use this a lot. Hillier Smith also uses this. Sounds good out of the box. It'll set you back probably 160 bucks or so. Low budget, I'm a big fan of the Rode NT USB Mini. It's a USB microphone for under 100 bucks, retailing at about, how much you get this for?
Got it for about 90 bucks.
Yeah, about 90 bucks. This is my friend Ravid. I actually recommended him this mic, and he seems to like it so far.
Well, if you're broke like me, then trust me, you'll love this mic.
For sure. With all of this in mind, though, just remember that this is my personal opinion. Doesn't necessarily mean it's the right answer. I mean, even Cam's had some different opinions than me, so take it with a grain of salt. Maybe you like my recommendations, maybe you don't. I have no idea. You're first gonna want to buy a boom arm and a pop filter if your microphone didn't come with both of those already. A pop filter is just a little piece of foam, usually that goes over or in front of your microphone to prevent harsh letters like P and B from sounding like shit when you speak. The sounds these letters make are called plosives. Here's what they sound like without a pop filter on my Yeti X. This is a quick test with the Blue Yeti X without a pop filter. Notice how the plosives make really bad sounds and it really just doesn't sound good. Now listen to the same audio with a pop filter this time. Now compare this to if we have a pop filter on the Blue Yeti X. Notice how the plosives are a lot easier on the ears because the air is being filtered out. Some microphones like the SM7B have this included, and others have it built directly inside of the mic. The other big accessory on this list, a boom arm, just gives you a lot more flexibility when recording. I can stand, I can sit, and honestly just be in any position I want to be as comfortable as possible while I record. A boom arm also makes it really easy to do things on camera, like video calls and live streams, as I can easily just adjust the mic to wherever I want and is comfortable, and I'm chilling. To set it up, all you have to do is click clamp it right onto your desk. And if you've got something weird like me where it doesn't clamp perfectly, you can always improvise to make it stay. This is the pop filter and boom arm that I use if you're interested. Now, if you've got an XLR mic, all you have to do to set it up is plug in your audio interface into your computer and then plug your XLR cable into the microphone and audio interface. After that, attach your mic to your boom arm, throw on your pop filter if necessary, and you're done. With the USB mic, all you've got to do to set that up is plug in your microphone with a USB cable and add your accessories like your boom arm and pop filter to get it working. Once you've got everything set up, you're probably going to want to adjust some settings on your mic before you start recording. Some microphones like the Blue Yeti X might give you a ton of stuff to change, whereas others won't, but to be honest, you don't really need to touch anything other than your gain and maybe your polar pattern if your mic has the ability to adjust that. We'll talk more about this when we actually edit our audio, but super processed audio is really hard on a viewer's ears if they're hearing it for realistically more than like a minute, which is a lesson I've learned from my old videos where I used to process my audio like crazy. It's possible to make YouTube videos without spending any money in 2023. Yeah, this is the same reason most podcasters use soft microphones like the SM7B with very little extra processing. Viewers are exposed to audio on podcasts for upwards of an hour in many cases, and if the audio is heavily processed, it's difficult for people to stay and listen to much of it just due to how harsh it can sound. Ideally, you want your audio to sound mostly like your natural voice. Start by adjusting your gain so that you're able to be clearly heard without too much background noise. Most USB microphones have a knob you can adjust somewhere or software that allows you to increase or decrease gain. Or if you have an XLR interface, it'll be a knob on there usually. To figure out a good level for my gain, I like to use a screen recording app like OBS or Streamlabs that can monitor audio. Download one of those too and add an audio input source to a new scene so that you're able to see your microphone input being monitored. Then adjust your gain on your mic or XLR soundboard so that when you speak, your mic output is mostly in the green and maybe just a bit into the yellow. If your levels hit the red, your audio is gonna peak and it'll sound like shit, so avoid that. As for polar patterns, some mics allow you to adjust this and others don't. A microphone's polar pattern is just the directions that your mic can pick up sound from. For example, the Shure SM7B only has one Polaroid pattern called cardioid, which means that it picks up sound from the front. Compare that to other mics like the Yeti X, which allow you to actually adjust the polar pattern. The Yeti X in particular has 4 you can pick from: omnidirectional, bidirectional, stereo, and cardioid. Unless you're doing an interview or something, I would always stick to cardioid if possible so that you're not picking up background noise from the back or sides of your mic. And now that we've got that all sorted, it's time to start recording. If you own the Adobe Creative Suite, I've got a really efficient voiceover workflow for you. If you're on Windows, if you don't have Audition and don't want to get it, the best free alternative in my opinion is a tool called Audacity. My main workflow isn't going to work for you if you're not on Windows or if you're not using Adobe Audition. Otherwise, here's the fastest way to record a voiceover with Audition if you're on Windows. First, download and install a program called AutoHotkey at autohotkey.com, as it'll allow us to make custom keyboard shortcuts for Adobe Audition. Then head to the second link in the description and type in your email to get a custom script for Audition and AutoHotkey that binds the F1, F2, and F3 keys to make recording voiceovers really fast and easy. After you get the script in your email, download it and double-click the file in File Explorer to run it. It should be called productivity.ahk, and when it starts running, it'll appear in your system tray like this. So make sure you see this. Then open Audition, create a new multi-track session, and press the record button at the bottom to start recording. If your mic is connected properly, you should see it working if you speak into it, and if not, go to your audio hardware settings in Audition to troubleshoot. Keep in mind, if you're using an XLR mic with a mixer, it might only record into one channel like this, but we'll fix that later. Now here comes the fun part. Have your script out on either a monitor or do what I do and hold it up in front of you on your phone, and then read a sentence or two at a time like this. If you mess up, don't stop the recording. Instead, hit F1 and say the line again. The AutoHotkey script will delete the bad take and start a new take in its place. Then, once you've got a take you're happy with, press F3 and Audition will start a new take after the good one. Finally, when you're done, press F2 to stop the recording. Simple as that. Skip to this timestamp next for tips on how to actually speak properly. Recording voiceovers on your iPhone is also a viable solution if you can afford a microphone. So I'm joined here with YouTuber Global Things. He's done very well for himself, and throughout his entire YouTube career, all he's used is his iPhone, which is crazy.
In fact, This is that iPhone.
That is that iPhone. And Mr. Global Things, I just want to ask you, how does one record voiceovers successfully on an iPhone?
Oh, Mr. Wealth. What we do, we hold it like so. You can use voice memos or whatever Android equivalent app you have, or you can just record it into an editor on your phone if you edit on your phone like I do. Record it, finish it up, you're done. It's really easy, and it actually sounds pretty good. It's not exactly like a professional mic you might buy for $200-$300. I don't know how much an SM7B is, but it's a lot. So if you don't want to do that, which I don't, and I don't know if I ever will, like in, I don't know, this foreseeable future, you can just do it in your phone, and it's seriously, it sounds pretty good. And I actually, another thing you can do, if you don't want just your raw phone microphone, I have this attachment. I don't know the model name, but it is from the company Shure. You can plug it in, you can record into it just the same way, and it sounds even better. So really, there's a lot of alternatives to buying your traditional, super expensive one that you hook up to your, your desk and you spit into it like that. I don't know.
This is what it looks like. Quite stylish. Apparently gets the job done. I mean, you can hear the audio on his channel. Sounds good enough, I'd say. So it's definitely a viable option. But before you take one of these workflows and actually start recording, I want to walk you through exactly how to sound confident while you record, because it doesn't really matter how good your equipment is or how efficiently you record voiceovers if you don't speak well in the first place. Tip 1 is to stand up while you record. This opens up your diaphragm and adds clarity to your voice, and if you've got a boom arm, this is really easy to do. Tip 2 is to slow down, but do more than just talk slower. Add little pauses when you speak, like this, to project confidence onto your viewers. If you go too fast, you'll trip over words and sound rushed, whereas if you go a little slower, you sound like you're in control and can clearly articulate whatever you're saying. Obviously, don't go too slow though, as people will get annoyed and or bored with you if you're really dragging out your sentences. Tip 3 is to drink water while you record your voiceover. Water makes you feel good and wettens your dry throat so that you're always speaking your best, so definitely always have a bottle on hand. Anyway, once you've got your voiceover done, we're gonna do a little bit of post-processing, and notice how I said a bit and not a lot. As we've talked about, something soft and as close to your natural voice as possible is ideal for YouTube voiceovers. And speaking of things ideal for voiceovers, before I show you how to post-process your audio, let's talk about the perfect complement to your voiceover when it's finished: good background music. And for that, let me introduce Epidemic Sound, the best copyright-free music provider for creators to soundtrack their videos without the fear of having their work taken down. Epidemic actually owns 100% of their music, so there's no need to worry about future copyright claims or takedowns. Personally, Epidemic Sound has always been my go-to for royalty-free music, with access to a library of over 40,000 tracks and 90,000 sound effects with new tracks added every week. Finding a soundtrack for your video becomes a no-brainer. Epidemic Sound offers up a personal plan, which is perfect for if you're just creating content on your own, and covers almost every social media platform out there. There's also a commercial plan, which I personally use, that's dedicated to providing freelancers, agencies, and brands with professionally composed music to use in client work and other channels without ever getting strikes. So if you want to take your sound design and music game on your videos to the next level, check out the link in the description to receive a free 1-month trial of Epidemic Sound. But anyway, before we start post-processing our audio, if you're using Audition, you're gonna have to merge all of your clips in your multi-track session. You can do this by selecting all of the clips, going to the clip tab, and then hitting merge. Then double click to go into the file. For other software, I imagine it's pretty similar. To post-process my voiceovers, I usually just slap a -3 decibel limiter on it to make the quiet parts as loud as everything else, and just call it a day. Also, if you're using an XLR mic that only recorded sound into one channel, you're gonna fix this 2 different ways depending on the software that you're using. If you're not using Adobe Audition, like for example if you're using Audacity, then just change the track that you're working on to mono, which means that you're gonna get the same sound in both ears, and then you should just be able to export it and edit it. On the flip side, if you're using Audition, right click on your file in Audition and export each channel into its own mono track, and then find the one with your audio. And because you're using Adobe Audition, you can take advantage of my streamlined workflow to automatically delete silence in your voiceover, saving you hours of having to cut everything up manually like you have to do with other software. And this works on Windows or Mac, and I'm gonna give it all to you for free. I haven't tested this with other editing software, but I know for sure it works with Premiere Pro, and chances are if you already have Adobe Audition, you probably probably are also using Premiere anyway. First, open up the diagnostics window in Audition and select the mark audio effect. I personally use these settings for the effect, which just tell Audition how to figure out whether I'm talking or not in the voiceover. Next, hit scan and then mark all, and based on the settings that you inputted, Audition will mark the silence on your voiceover automatically. Now, open the markers window and change all of the marker types to subclip, export everything, and this is important, don't just drag it into Premiere Pro or it's not going to work. In Premiere Pro, go to File, Import, and then select your WAV file to import it in all sliced up for you. Simple as that. Sub to my email list if you want free articles about growing and monetizing your YouTube channel.